Hey guys, thanks for joining the Revived IT YouTube channel. Today we'll be going over Microsoft Copilot Studio and how you can go ahead and get your organization set up with Microsoft Copilot Studio. We'll go over licensing for Microsoft Copilot Studio. We'll go over the actual technical setup for Microsoft Copilot Studio, and then we'll go ahead and go over the process of actually deploying one of these agents to end users or to your staff so that they can actually start using some of these Copilot Studio agents. Microsoft Copilot Studio is a platform that actually lets you set up customized AI chatbots or AI agents for your organization. Now you might ask why you actually need this product, or how is this different to Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now, Microsoft 365 Copilot in itself, it does let you, browse or use your organizational data as its knowledge base, and it lets you do a lot of things in its entirety. It's more so a general AI chatbot. Whereas with Microsoft Copilot Studio, it actually lets you set up the agents and the chatbots themselves, and you can actually customize this niche or the specific use cases for these AI chatbots, right? So for an example, let's say you've got a new staff onboarding, and you probably already have a enrollment process or a onboarding process, for new starters to actually go through, certain policies, documentation, user guides, and whatnot. Now with using something like Microsoft Copilot Studio, you can actually, rather than having another staff member actually, help out with the onboarding, you can actually have an AI. You can create an AI agent to actually automate the entire process and sort of, be of guidance to your new starter or your new staff onboarding. Now let's jump on into the video and actually let's go over licensing firstly. Now Microsoft Copilot Studio licensing, you've got two pathways. Now you've got your pay-as-you-go pathway. This is where you would actually pay for each interaction with your AI agent. So for an example, if you yourself interact with this AI agent, or if your staff or your end users interact with this AI agent, you will be charged as an organization on a per message or per interaction basis. Now, you've also got the Copilot Studio license. Essentially, this is licensed on a per tenant basis. So, let's say you purchase one of these licenses for your tenancy, you'll be granted 25,000 messages or 25,000 interactions as a capacity. Now, yeah, once you do, sort of figure out your licensing pathway, you can actually, see what's the best pathway for you to take. And, if you are a smaller to medium-sized business, the recommendation would be to actually go for a pay-as-you-go plan, because you might not need the 25,000 interactions. Whereas if you are a more so a larger business or an enterprise, then you'd actually want to look at purchasing the Microsoft Copilot Studio licensing itself. Okay, so let's get on to the licensing setup for Microsoft Copilot. Now, like I said, there's two pathways to actually set up licensing. Now, firstly, I'll show you the pay-as-you-go setup. Essentially, what you want to do is you want to log into your Microsoft Admin Center by going to admin.microsoft.com, and then you can just go into Copilot, and then you want to go into billing and usage, and then you need to set up a billing policy. Now your billing policy can be like Copilot Studio or Copilot Studio, or something along those lines. Now one thing to to keep in mind is for pay-as-you-go billing, you'll need to have an Azure subscription set up. Now, I won't go with the Azure subscription itself, but it's a fairly simple process. I'll put a link in the description for you guys to actually, if you have any questions about setting up an Azure subscription. Once that's done, you'll need to select your resource group, the region. So I am in Australia, so I'll do Australia from the list. Australia, let's do Australia East. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, you can accept the terms of service, and then you can hit next, and you can actually set up your billing policy. Now, I won't set up the billing policy myself because we've already got Copilot Studio licensing here. So once that's done, you want to jump into your pay-as-you-go services back in Copilot under billing and usage. You want to go into your Microsoft 365 Copilot chat, and then you want to add you assign your billing policy here. Now, once you set up your billing policy, it'll just show up here as a policy available to be assigned to this pay-as-you-go service. And now that's the pay-as-you-go setup. But let's say you run a, a larger organization or an enterprise. Now you can reach out to your Microsoft licensing reseller to actually get you assigned with Microsoft Copilot Studio licensing, or you can actually, if you manage your own licensing, you can jump into the marketplace and you can actually purchase the licensing from the Microsoft 365 marketplace itself. All you want to do is you want to go into marketplace, pick your billing profile, and then just search Copilot Studio. And yeah, once you do, you'll be able to purchase your Copilot Studio licensing from here. Now, one important thing to keep in mind with Microsoft Copilot Studio licensing is that any user or any admin that actually needs to edit any of these agents or create any of these agents, they will need the Microsoft Copilot Studio user add-on. Now this license, it is a completely free license, and if you are an admin, or if you want to grant someone else the ability to edit agents, or update agents, or create agents, you'll need to assign one of these licenses to them. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. You can just add it on as a free license once you jump into add-ons in your Microsoft 365 marketplace. As part of today's video, we're going to be setting up a Copilot Studio agent that's actually going to help our end users or our staff with any tech related questions, any tech issues. They're going to be able to use this agent that we're going to create to actually get some answers that are going to be specific for our business and our organization. So let's get started. So to start with the agent creation, you'll first need to go to copilotstudio.microsoft.com. Now, once you are in the Copilot Studio portal, you'll be presented with a screen that looks similar to this. On the left hand side, you have a few tabs here that you can use to navigate the Copilot Studio portal. Since we are setting up an agent from scratch, we will select create on the left here, and then new agent. And now the setup experience for a Copilot Studio agent is pretty straightforward. You'll first need to give it a few prompts so that Microsoft Copilot itself will be able to generate the agent for the most part, and then we'll be able to configure it, or if you have any specific requirements, we'll be able to customize them towards the later stages of the configuration. So starting off, what would you like to make? So I'm gonna give my prompt. So it's gonna be I want to create an AI agent that's going to help my staff with setting with uh, any tech related queries using resources that I have on SharePoint. So I want to create an AI agent that's going to help my staff with any tech related queries using resources that I have on SharePoint. Now, in your case as well, you can use your organizational internal resources, and this way you'll be able to provide more specific information that might make a bit more sense to the end user. Great. Now let's determine a name for your agent. How about tech support assistant? Please confirm or suggest another name. Yeah, let's stick with that. Yes, let's stick with that. And wait for that to think. Now let's refine the instructions for your agent. First, let's define what the agent should do. For example, provide tech support for staff by answering queries related to software, hardware, and network issues. What should the agent's main tasks and goals be? Yeah, actually that's the exact thing that I really need. So I'm just gonna, yeah, just copy and paste right that in there. We'll wait for that to load. Your agent tech support assistant is now set up to provide tech support for your staff using resources available on SharePoint. Perfect. Do you have any more modifications to make? Not at this stage. Wait for that to think. The agent is now set up. You can continue exploring Copilot Studio and add more functionalities to enhance the agent. If you have any further refinements to make, I'm here to help. So yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna hit create, and now we'll be presented with the agent overview screen. So we'll wait for that to load. So now you can see it's setting up the agent. And yeah, once that's done, now you'll be presented with the overview screen for your agent. You'll have a few more tabs here to actually, if you need to customize anything more. But yeah, to start off, we'll first need to add our knowledge. So this will be the SharePoints. If you have any internal resources on SharePoint, you can actually select SharePoint from here. You also have, a bit of other options as well, like you can use public websites, you can use Dataverse, you can use Dynamics 365, Salesforce. Yeah, there's a fair bit of connectors and knowledge sources that you can add in here, but for our purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a SharePoint site that I've set up for to act as the knowledge base. In your case, you can use the SharePoint sites that your organization, the SharePoint sites that you want your agent to use. So I'm gonna just copy the link to my SharePoint site. Let's select SharePoint here, and I'm just gonna add the URL. You can select add. You can see here it's fine. You can name it whatever you want to, but I'm just gonna stick with what we've got on there, and then I'm gonna hit add. And one thing to keep in mind is SharePoint will only be available to authenticated users. So for an example, if you are going to be using this SharePoint site as a knowledge base, and if you want your staff to have access to these resources, you will need to make sure you granted them access to the SharePoint site as well. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Perfect. Now, since we've added our knowledge sources, let's go ahead and actually test out the bot just to make sure everything's in order. It gives us the results that we need. So to test out the bot, on the top right you have this test button here, so you got to click that. Once you do, you'll be presented with the test your agent section here. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you can also customize this message that comes up on your chatbot at the start. So if you needed to do that, all you would do is select test and then just double click, and that will take you to your conversation start section here, where you can customize the message that comes up at the start. Yeah, but for today's purpose, we're going to keep things simple, so let's just leave that as is. And what I'm going to ask my bot first is I'm going to ask them, how do I release or how do I report a phishing email on Microsoft? So let's just see if that generates an answer based on our resources. Yep, perfect. So you can see here now that's actually brought up the steps that they need to do to actually report a spam email or phishing email, and there's also the user guide itself. If they wanted to actually refer back to that, they can actually select that, and that'll direct them through directly to the user guide itself. Now, since we've actually gone ahead and tested all of that, what we can do next is we can hit publish here to publish our agent. So we'll wait for that to publish. So it'll ask you if you want to publish this. You can hit publish. So we'll wait for that. This should just be about a minute or so. Yep, done. Now, since that's been published, now we've set up our agent, we've published the agent, which is going to make this agent available on the Microsoft Teams admin center as well. And just to make sure, what you have to do is you've got to go into channels here. And then let's go into Microsoft Teams and Copilot. Now there's a few different publishing options here. Obviously you can publish it as a demo website, you can publish it as a web app, as a native app. There's a whole bunch of options here, but for today's purpose we're gonna publish it on Teams, and we're gonna publish it using the Microsoft Teams and Microsoft 365 Copilot option here. So you have to select that, and we'll wait for that to load as well. Actually, let's hit add channel here. So now that will go ahead and add the Copilot bot to the Teams admin center as well. Now if you select availability options here, you'll be able to see, you'll be able to make this available for your staff. So show in store, decide who you want to show your agent to. So I want to show this to everyone in my organization. So I'm gonna submit this for admin approval. Yes, I want to hit yes on that. Now what's going to happen is that's going to send a request to your global administrators or your site administrators to actually go ahead and approve the agent to be published. So since that is done, what we can do next is we'll leave that page open, and let's go to the Teams admin center. So I'm going to go admin.teams.microsoft.com, and I've already signed into my administrator account, so I'm just gonna wait for this to load, and then once it does load, you can go into Teams apps here. You can go into manage apps, and yep, and skip the tour for now. And yeah, you can just go ahead and search your for your yeah, your tech support agent. So you can see here now that's been published to the admins Teams admin center. You can see it's got a status that says blocked, publishing status it says submitted. So need to make sure this is unblocked, and then we'll also need to make sure it's published to all your teammates. So we're going to select the app itself. You can see there's a pending action here, so if you are the admin, you'll be able to reject it, or you'll be able to actually approve the publish. You'll be able to approve the app for it to be published. So we'll wait for that. Perfect. Now we can, since that's been published, we can go ahead and actually search for our bots. So let's do tech support. You can see here now it's set as unblocked. It's available to everyone. You can take it a step further, and you can actually have it roll out automatically to the Teams app for your staff. So it shows up as a pinned app here on the left menu here on your Teams app. So the best way to do that would be to go to setup policies, and then you can edit your global policy, or if you have a separate policy for your organization, you can edit it as needed. But in my case, I need to edit the global policy, so I'm just going to edit the global policy. Now you want to add an app that you want to install, and you want to search your tech support assistant, hit add, and then I also want the app to be pinned, so I am going to add that onto the list as well. Support assistant, add that, and yeah, so that I'm gonna hit save. Now that should take a couple minutes to actually roll out. Now if you jump into the Microsoft Teams app on your computer, you'll be able to see the app that we deployed before from the Microsoft Teams Admin Center show up as a pinned app here. Now this is obviously the agent that we set up on Microsoft Copilot Studio. So let's go ahead and test out a couple of things here, so we can give it the same prompts that we gave it before to see if we get the same results. So let's go ahead and do that. How do I report a phishing email on Microsoft Outlook? So let's see. So you can see here it's thinking perfect. Now you can see here it's given us the steps based on the resources that are on our SharePoint site, and you can see here, if you have a look at the reference article, it's actually got the document itself on SharePoint, and yeah, we've now gone ahead and actually tested out the agent on Microsoft Teams as well. If you need to do a bit of fine-tuning, improve the results that you get from your agent, you can jump back into the Copilot Studio portal and fine-tune things, or change things the way you want. Thanks for joining the video today. I just want to take you over Microsoft Copilot Studio and just give you a rundown as to how it all operates, how you deploy it across your organization or to your end users. And if you do have any questions, please leave a note, a comment in the comment section, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like the video if you learned something off of it as well. And until I see you guys next time, thanks for watching. Bye.